Good morning once again, everybody. So, there's a bit more information about gasoline and the fact that, a lot of people have been complaining recently, and I already did a video covering this, but a lot of people have been complaining recently that their gas is not going anywhere near as far as it used to, and the immediate conspiracy theories surrounding it that they're watering down the gas, which of course you can't actually water it down, but you can add more ethanol to it. And the fact that most of the gas pumps, nearly all of the gas pumps in the United States, put out blended gas that is 85%, 85% or greater gasoline, and the rest is ethanol. Now, apparently, there has been a new development, and I also forgot to mention the mix oils and cleaners and detergents that they mix into gas. But anyway, apparently, the EPA has decided to approve the sale of higher ethanol fuel to try to lower gas prices, which is kind of backwards because it takes a decent amount of fuel, it takes a decent amount of diesel in order to farm all of that corn and process it into ethanol. Anyway, what a surprise. The US doing backwards ass shit. Shocker. Anyway, they apparently are going to try to lower the costs by upping the ethanol blend. Okay, okay. So this would absolutely explain why all of a sudden, or at least part of the reason quietly, why all of a sudden the gas is burning faster. Of course, it's not enough that we watered down the currency, but now we've got to water down the fuel too. Oh, okay. So, so the blend of ethanol, that 0 to 15% ethanol that could be in the gas that you'd normally get from the pumps, that 15% was essentially the limit. Okay, it could be anywhere between 0 and 15 and still fly. All right, and people who remember back when they started doing that, and it was kind of a bailout to the flyover states, particularly Iowa's corn production. Anyway, um, immediately, like, putting in more ethanol, all right, especially with the older vehicles. So, I don't want to say 2010s, but at least the 2000s and older. Those vehicles, when they started rolling out more ethanol blend, a lot of the seals were drying out and cracking. There were a lot of issues that came from that. So, trying to cheapen the gas out, because the average age of vehicles, let me actually just double check this real quick. Average age of vehicles in the US. What is it? Oh, no, 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 no. By year. Average age projected. Oh, good God. Why is it never easy? Uh, 12 years, 12.8 years overall. All right. Yeah, this is not spitting what I needed to spit. Anyway, there are still tons of old vehicles, and large parts of the economy are actually still being run, at least in the hinterlands, are still being run on old vehicles that can be maintained. So we're talking 2000, from the 2000s all the way down to, I mean, shit, there's still trucks from the 70s and 80s that are still quietly powering the economy, and most people don't know it. Oh my god, it's terrible. Oh, the pollution. Do you want the shit to get to the store or not? Make up your mind, Karen or Linda or whoever the hell. All right. Regardless, if they have been quietly upping the ethanol content in the standard gas that we've been used to for the past 15, 20 years, that's going to pose a problem. That's going to be more seals blowing out. That's going to be more downtime. That's going to be more engine issues. This could end very poorly. Very, very poorly, but also it would force people to buy new cars, which conveniently, the auto market is not exactly doing too well. All right, especially because more and more people are rejecting newer vehicles because the older vehicles are the only ones that can actually fucking run without having some kind of issue. All right, cropping up in the first 2 to 5 years. That's dramatic, whether it's an engine, transmission, anything else. The differentials, most people, for instance, a lot of the newer Ford cars, probably from like 2008 and on, they started putting in like the world's tiniest differentials into these things, and of course they started having problems, especially when they were integrated with the actual transmission. All right, they started having a lot more problems with them. Anyway, back to the point. They're now rubber stamped to put more ethanol into the gas. All right. Now, of course, assuredly hope that this is going to be labeled as such, because honestly, going higher with the ethanol content with older vehicles is going to be a problem. And honestly, it's a thing. As long as it's labeled, we could do it. But good God, if they've been quietly putting more ethanol in, we're going to have a problem. Okay. Anyway, in addition to this, because I forgot to mention it in the last video, the other thing that waters down the gas. So, of course, you have that 0 to 15% ethanol that is found in normal gas. And, of course, ethanol, it doesn't have the same energy density, all right? It burns a lot faster, all right? It is corn liquor, all right? And of course, it's going to burn faster. Now, on the bright side, is it also helps dissipate water buildup in gas tanks. So, I mean, it at least has some benefit to it. And that's what, I mean, it's not ethanol, but quote unquote dry gas is just bottled methanol. All right. It's like, it's ethanol, or not ethanol, it's alcohol made from like wood chips, pits, the parts of a fruit that you wouldn't want to eat. All right. It's just essentially methanol that you dump into a gas tank to try to lift the water and spread it out in suspension. All right, so hopefully it'll get burnt up little by little. Anyway, anyway, when it comes to the mix oil percentage, now this one I've always been suspect of, because if you go to the average gas pump in the US, most of them will preach about, they'll have little, if they have like built in screens, they'll have the little infomercial talking about how great their chemical additives are, in terms of, cleaning the engine out, which you don't need because gasoline itself is a cleaning agent. So when it gets injected in, it's cleaning the engine in the process. All right. Now, if you absolutely dump it in, it might not work so well, but it does have, and it does function as a cleaner. All right. Anybody who's had to get any kind of real sticky gunk, like maybe a phone mount, that came loose. If you take the 3M stick pad off, it normally leaves behind a residue, and that residue is incredibly difficult to get rid of. So what people do is they put a little bit of lighter fluid on a cotton ball, and they use it to just slowly, dissolve and work that off. Anyway, what? Let me see if I can pull the number up here. What is the percentage of fuel that is additives? Additives and cleaners. There's official percentages. Additives and cleaners typically make up a small percentage of commercial gasoline, less than Point 0.1 or point 0.2 by volume according to industry practices. Yeah, I'm not necessarily going to buy that. All right, so in terms of excess ethanol being in the gas prior to this change and not being labeled, I couldn't tell you. Honestly, I could not tell you if they were quietly debasing the gas with the ethanol. But in terms of cleaning additives, on the other hand, that even though there are industry standards in place, the reality is this is DJT's economy and everything is running fast and loose. So it would not surprise me if the rules have become suggestions, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were putting junk ass additives and cleaners, excess quote unquote labeled additives and cleaners into the gas to not make it necessarily burn faster, but just to additionally water down the gas. So for all we know, we could be getting 75% gasoline at this point. All right. It's possible. It's possible. Anything, honestly, at this point, anything is legitimately possible. The former rules that applied don't necessarily apply anymore because we're in the age of you can just do things, and it's becoming more and more problematic when that combines with all of the enshittification and the loss of value from the inflation at every level in every supply chain. All right. But logistically speaking, reality speaking, how many more taxes can they honestly handle at this point? All right. You're already paying the silent tax of inflation on everything. You are already dealing with potentially the tax of losing a large chunk of the population to fight a war that we shouldn't be in. All right. But then we also have the reality that if we're just going to start watering down the gas, that's also effectively a silent tax. This constant debasement is just taking more and more and more and more. People are having to pay to prop up the system more than the system is rewarding people for playing the game. Okay? You cannot have the base inflation plus the fuel prices going up because the gas alone, the fuel alone, the crude oil alone, all of your plastics, which is damn near everything that people buy, is plastic. The cars are made out of fucking plastic. All right. Major components in the vehicles for the engines themselves, the plastic fuel rails. All right. Plastic fuel rails, some of the seals, plastic fuel rails, plastic oil coolers, and it's ridiculous how much plastic has gotten in. Of course, you got plastic AC parts, and the entire interiors are becoming more and more and more plastic. You literally, you can't afford to be paying for even more of this bullshit. All right, you can't afford to necessarily be paying more for plastic junk that you don't need. You can't necessarily afford an economy that is going to not just it's not just going to be suffering the cost of higher gas, but you're going to be paying all throughout. As bad as the inflation is, you're going to be paying at every single step in the process for more expensive gas that gets you even less farther than it normally would. Like, this whole system is coming apart. All right. Like, I say it again and again. I don't know how many of you out there take it seriously, but these are legitimate threats to your ability to maintain a job, to be able to get the things you need, to be able to move anything around. All right. We cannot afford this kind of shit. All right. We literally can't. And I mean, I know that the conspiracy obviously is that they've been watering it down already, and a lot of people have complained about that. I honestly, I can't deny the idea that they would have been forward thinking in terms of watering down the gas. But if they are legitimately watering down the gas prior to this announcement from the EPA, then there is a decent chance that they've been violating labeling laws. And if you can honestly prove, right, if you can honestly prove that the gas you were getting was not getting you as far, and you were to send that and get it analyzed and prove that there was more than the 15% standard allowable in your gas, then by all means you can sue every single one of these people, every single one of these gas stations, corporations that own them. You can absolutely sue them for misrepresenting. All right, because if they're giving you 0 to 15, all right, on the label, and they're actually giving you 20 to 25 to 30, then obviously they're defrauding you. Okay, so as far as it's concerned with people who are complaining about the gas burning up faster, unless you can prove it, you ain't got shit. So save up the money, have it analyzed, and see if you got yourself a solid court case. All right. With that, I will end it here. If you like and appreciate the video, like, favorite, sub, share, do all the things, ring the bell, ding the bell, tick the bell, do all things to your heart's content to the bell. Leave a comment, hype it if it comes up. And if you are interested in written content, check out the Substack in the description box below. And if you are interested in personal business or sovereign consulting, stop by www.spadesconsulting.com without the dash. And I will see you all next time. Have a good one.